Hi everybody, it's Michelle at Knitting on the Side, and today is Friday, July the 31st, and I thought I'd come in and show you what I've been working on recently. So on my sock project, I'm not sure if I showed you that I did finish one sock, and I have been working on the second one, and I didn't do much on this one this week, just a few stitches, but there is my sock project. I don't have anything finished yet to show you, but I have been plugging away on stuff. Last time I did also show you a tank top that I had started. And this is the Easy Street Tank. I can't remember the designer's name, but last time I had showed you, I think I had just joined for knitting in the round. If not, then I was close to that point. But I am at the point that I am knitting in the round. So just doing stockinette round and round and round. I am probably a little over halfway through this cone of yarn. So if I get to a point that I have a knot in it, because I don't knit the knots into my project, I like to weave ends in on things like shirts and stuff. So if I get to a knot in the project, I'm going to stop and do the arm and neck bands and then join back into the body and finish the body. Right now I'm not sure how much yarn it's going to take to do these, so I don't know how much I should leave for it. If I get desperate, I have other colors of this Lion brand re-up yarn, and I could use a different color for the bands if I have to. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but normally I don't root or cheer on finding a knot, but I'm kind of almost hoping that I do find one so I can stop and go back and do these without having more joins than necessary. I don't know. I might actually just cut it and do that and then join back onto the body. But I should be getting fairly close to the bottom of the top. The bottom of the top. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. But to the hem area, I should be getting fairly close to it. So I shouldn't need to do too much more on the length. Not enough to run out, but I would just feel better if I already had the other parts done. I'll see how it turns out. Haven't gotten a lot done this week. We've been working on, last time I told you we were getting a septic system put in, and right about the time that we scheduled to get it done, we started with our monsoons. It's not been good. They put in the tank and they put in one run of the infiltrator chambers, and they didn't get them completely covered. And then we had a really bad rain. They left for a 3-day weekend. They came back and our entire line of infiltrators was ruined. It was full of mud and silt that had washed in. So they had to pull those out, refill the hole with the dirt that they'd taken out, and then redig it and redo that entire line of infiltrators. So it has not been good. And then when they got all the infiltrator chambers in, they were getting ready to hook up for the the stub for the sewer lines, and found out that the lid of our septic tank is cracked. So that has to be dealt with before we can go any further on it. So it's not been fun, and it's like the hottest time of the year, so they're out there trying to work when it's 104 degrees. We've been helping as much as we can, but oh my gosh, it's hot. So hopefully that gets taken care of soon, but we'll see. I did, since I last talked to you, start making a pencil case. I'm not sure how to pronounce this designer's name, Lycophanton. It's a Nordic name. I can't pronounce it, but I'll try and put a link to the pattern in there. I've bounced this one around in my bag. It's pretty ragged looking. I have knitted the main cable panel. When I started doing this, the first, about 6 rows I started, and every cable that I have done in the past has been crossing knit stitches. I've never had to cross purl stitches. And so I just crossed them and I just knit, 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 knit. And then I'm looking at it going, that doesn't look right. That's because you cross them, and if it was a purl stitch before, it's going to be a purl stitch when you cross it, because you only have like 2 stitches wide on these little cables. So I ripped out that first 6 rows that I had done, restarted it, figured out what in the world I was supposed to do, and it looks like it's supposed to now. So you've got a chart with this cable design. You do 4 repeats of that chart for the pencil bag, and then you knit the ends. And the ends, the pattern has you doing seed stitch, and you're increasing at the end. On every 4th row you do an increase at each end. And it was a little bit confusing on keeping track of the knits and the purls on the seed stitch, so I just made a garter stitch triangle because it ends up as like a triangle. So I just did garter stitch. It was easier for my brain to handle. And so these will be sewn in the ends of the pencil case, and it's kind of hard to show you what it's going to look like, but so I've got those parts done. And I did go ahead and wash this and kind of block it out so that it would be ready for sewing and look a little better when I sewed it together, because I think it would block better laying flat with that cable design than trying to do it and wash it when it's, already folded up into a bag. So I went ahead and blocked this. But after I get the ends sewn on and sew in a lining and the zipper, then you use some other yarn to make little tabs on the end of the pencil case, somewhere for you to grab onto when you're zipping it open or zipping it closed. So I dug through my stash. I found a zipper. The color's not great. It's the best color that I had to go with this, though, and I was not going to go out and buy a zipper for this. And so I also went through my stash and I just found a piece of fabric that I can use as a lining. I wouldn't have normally chosen a plaidish fabric for a lining on something like this, but the colors went together. It'll work, and it's going to be inside the bag, so you're not going to see it. So that is in progress. It is in the finishing stages of it. That's the part where I usually throw it on my UFO shelf and don't ever look at it again, but I'm keeping it handy for when I get some time to actually sew that lining together and sew it all together. So the ball of yarn that I used there is very old. I don't even know what it is. It had no label. When I washed that panel to block it, it smells like wool. Wool when it's wet smells like wet sheep. It has that smell, so I'm pretty sure it's wool. I think I might do a burn test with whatever kind of scraps I have left and just kind of see if it is wool or if there's like some acrylic content or something, but I'm pretty sure it's wool. Anker Tee. I have worked on my Anker Tee, and you can't tell because it doesn't look any bigger, because these are 3mm needles and it is tiny little stitches, short little rows, long ways around, but it doesn't add a lot of length each time. I have, after I got my mistake fixed And I went through and figured out where in the pattern I was and put my stitch markers back in to mark my raglans. Then I went through the pattern and I wrote down what, I don't know if you can see that pencil mark on there, but I wrote down what my stitch count should be on each row as I go, so that I can count once in a while. So every about fourth round, I've been counting my stitches to make sure that I'm on track and not screwing up again. And I just counted them on this last row that I did. Everything looks good. I have 4 rows left before I can separate the sleeves and the body. And then I won't have to do any more increases for a while, and I can just knit, 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 knit. So we are making progress. It is coming along pretty good. The stitches are looking pretty good. Every once in a while I'll find a spot where I split the yarn on a previous row and I have to fix it, but it doesn't take but a second to fix it. That's kind of the drawback of cotton yarn, but I think it's going to be a nice shirt when I'm done. I hope, because it's taken a lot of time. That is that one. I have made progress. I don't know if you guys remember the slippers that I made a couple episodes back. I got a thank you card in the mail for them. And the aunt that I sent them to gave me some money for them, so I will use that probably for yarn. That's where most of my money goes. And a friend of mine has challenged me to making something in her favorite color. And I went stash diving, and I do not have very much yarn in her favorite color, which happens to be yellow. But I did have 2 balls of this Cozy Toes from Yarn Bee that is black and yellow with some gray in there. This yarn actually came from the friend whose favorite color is yellow. So I am going to use this yarn as my challenge to make something with yellow. So I've got 2 balls of it. I think I'm going to make a pair of socks because it's sock yarn, Cozy Toes sock yarn. So that will be part of what I do for August, which is tomorrow. I can't believe it's August already. Feels like Christmas was like just the other day. And since it is August, that means that it is going to be the motorcycle rally in Sturgis coming up. Starts on next Friday. And so my husband and I have been getting our motorcycles ready to go. Yesterday we worked on mine. We've been working on it for a couple of days, checking the valve clearances, changing the oil. We bought some plastic boxes and we mounted them on the side on the pannier racks, and then one up on the back that I can use like a trunk. That way we've got hard luggage instead of, in previous years we've always strapped bags on, and it can be kind of hard to get those to stay on, and then you've got tons of straps, and straps can be an issue if they break and get down in your tire. So we decided we would mount some plastic boxes on there and make it a little bit safer and easier to carry our luggage. So we've been working on that. We got mine done yesterday, and I will try and stick a picture in for you guys. And today we are working on his. We just got all the boxes mounted, and he is reupholstering his seat because the seats that come on our bikes are very uncomfortable. And I didn't mention, but we did do my seat already. Mine looks pretty much the same as the original seat, but we just cut some of the foam out because it's like a really hard foam. And we got some foam that has a little bit more give to it and put that in there, so maybe it'll kind of form to your butt a little bit. Because last year we rode our bikes up to Sturgis, and then on the way home, oh my gosh, we weren't even halfway home, and we were both almost ready to cry. Our butts hurt so bad. And we would stop and get off and walk around for a little while, and then you get back on and you start to ride again, and you don't even get out of the parking lot and back onto the road, and your butt hurts again. So we decided we're going to try to do something about that this year and hopefully have a little bit more give in the seat so you can kind of squish down in there a little bit and get a little more comfortable. So he's working on his seat right now. I got to go over there and help him when I get done with this. And then we'll have to check the slack in his chain, and we should have our motorcycles ready to go for Sturgis. So I probably won't be getting a lot of knitting done while we're gone. I think I'm going to try and take a sock project along, but that's probably going to be all I can really fit because you just don't have a lot of room. I definitely try and travel light because you just don't have space to carry anything. Before, when he first started taking me, we had a motorcycle with a sidecar. And that's kind of where my name Knitting on the Side comes from, because I would sit in the sidecar and I would knit or crochet. So that's how I came up with the name Knitting on the Side, because I was on the side of the motorcycle. And one year I knitted in the sidecar riding along there. I knitted at least 5 adult hats to donate that year, and they were stranded even. That was kind of fun. But I have done a lot of knitting and crochet in the side of a motorcycle. I just can't do it while I'm riding my own. I learned how to ride my own motorcycle in 23, so I've been riding my own since then. So no more knitting at the same time as we go anywhere on the motorcycles. But that is all I've been working on because we've been so busy with everything else. So that's all I've got for you right now, and probably won't be a whole lot the next time. I'll see what I can get done. But I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.